You know you want to get more art done. You have the supplies. You have the paintings sitting there waiting for you. You technically have the time. You just don't wanna. So how do you get yourself in the mood to paint or draw when motivation has apparently left the building? I've got a few tricks that help me, but I wanna start with something important. You don't actually have to be motivated to make art, and a lot of times you're just not going to be. Motivation is great when it shows up, but if I waited until I genuinely felt inspired, every time I went into the studio, I would get a lot less artwork finished. And by a lot, probably very, very little. So instead, I have little things that make it easier to get started. First, reset your studio. If my studio is a disaster, sometimes the first thing I need to do isn't paint, it's clean. And I'm not talking about suddenly deciding this is the perfect time to alphabetize every colored pencil I own. That's procrastination wearing a very responsible looking hat. Give yourself 10 or 15 minutes. Throw away the trash, put away the art supplies from the last project, clear off your work area, get everything ready for the piece you're going to work on. There's something about walking into a clean, organized workspace that makes me actually want to sit down and work. And the act of cleaning can just kind of reset your brain to this is what we're going to do next. Plus, if you've already started doing something productive in the studio, you've created a little momentum. Just don't turn clean the studio into a 3-hour alternative to actually making art. My second tip, have a stupid little studio ritual. And I say stupid little with love. Have something you do every time you're about to work that tells your brain, okay, it's art time. For me, that's usually getting a fancy drink, what I consider fancy. Maybe my flavored carbonated water or a cup of tea with an orange slice. Because everyone knows orange slices are for fancy times. Does the orange slice make me a better artist? Obviously, that's just science. But seriously, your ritual could be anything. Make your favorite coffee, put on a specific playlist, turn on your studio lights, light a candle, assuming you're not gonna set your solvent-soaked paper towels on fire. The point is, create a little routine that you enjoy and start associating that with making art. This is really all a mind game. My third tip, make starting ridiculously easy. One of the biggest problems isn't actually doing the work, it's starting. If you are sitting on the couch thinking, I need to go work on that painting for 4 hours, that sounds like a real commitment. So don't commit to 4 hours. Tell yourself you're going to work for 15 minutes. That's it, you just need 15 minutes. Go sit down, pick up the pencil, mix some paint, work on one tiny area. If 15 minutes goes by and you're still absolutely miserable and don't want to be there, fine, go ahead and stop. But most of the time, starting was the hard part. Kind of like going to the gym. If you get your butt there, you might actually work out. It's just getting your butt there that can be hard. Once I'm sitting there and I'm actually working, I'm usually fine. Which brings me to probably the biggest thing on this list. Know exactly what you're doing next. Sometimes I don't feel like art actually means I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. Kinda stuck. There's a huge difference between walking into your studio thinking, I should work on my painting, just generally, and walking in knowing, I'm gonna finish the background, and then I'm gonna start blocking in the fur. One feels like this giant, vague project. The other is a task. It's something that you know you're going in to do. So when you stop working for the day, leave yourself a little note. You can write it on a Post-it or whatever. Leave yourself a note about what comes next. You can even physically set out the supplies that you're going to need for that next step. Maybe it's the colors or the specific pencils, erasers, blending tools, whatever. Now tomorrow you doesn't have to make a bunch of decisions. Tomorrow you just has to sit down and start. And tomorrow you appreciates that because tomorrow you is probably lazy. I know tomorrow me is. Fifth, give yourself permission to have a mediocre studio day. Not every studio session needs to be amazing. You don't need to produce your best work. Take that pressure off of yourself. You don't even need to feel particularly creative. Sometimes you're just showing up and putting in another layer. And I think we get ourselves into trouble when we expect every art session to feel inspiring. Some days I'm excited about what I'm working on. Some days I'm completely absorbed in it and suddenly 5 hours have disappeared. That actually happened to me yesterday with the koi painting that I was working on. I got it done in a day. But some days I'm basically telling myself, put the pencil on the paper, Lisa. And all of those days count. Because here's the slightly annoying truth about getting more artwork done. Eventually, you just have to sit down and work. You can clean your studio, you can make your fancy tea, you can put on your favorite music, you can create the absolute perfect environment, but none of those things are going to pick up the pencil for you. And the funny thing is, the motivation you're waiting on often shows up after you start. You sit down when you don't really feel like it. You work for a few minutes and something starts looking good. You solve a problem you've been fighting with, and suddenly you're into it. So don't make the goal, I need to feel motivated enough to make art. Make the goal, I'm gonna make it easy to start. Clean your space, get your fancy beverage, know what you're working on, promise yourself at least 15 minutes, then put your butt in the chair and make some art. The orange slice will handle the rest.